Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome everyone. Today I wanted to go through the evolution of the patch card or the jersey card or the memorabilia card, whatever you want to call it. And it's really not an evolution, it's a de-evolution, as we have gone pretty far backwards in terms of the quality of the patch since they first hit the sports card hobby in the late 1990s. You'll see that pretty clearly here in this video. I'm just going to run through a whole bunch of examples, starting off kind of going through the timeline and then spending most of the time on sort of present day patch cards and what, where they're from, what the meaning of the guarantee on the back. A lot of them are extremely vague, so going to have to sort of guess the meaning on a lot of them. So when jersey cards first appeared in the hobby in the late 1990s, I think 1997 is the first year where they appear in each of the four big sports. They were game-worn jersey cards. Each piece of cloth on the card was a piece of a jersey worn in an official game by in this case, Kobe Bryant. And on the back of the card, there was always a write-up explaining this. In this case, it says, "You have received a game-worn jersey basketball card from the Upper Deck Company. On the front of this card is an authentic piece of a game-worn jersey worn by Kobe Bryant in an official NBA game in 1997-1998. And that's how they all were. There were no exceptions to this. Every single piece of cloth was from a game-worn jersey from that player. And that was the case for a number of years. Here's another example from 2002, a Fleer Cal Ripken jersey card. And on the back, it very clearly states that this is a game-worn jersey card, which was worn by Cal Ripken Jr. in a game with the Baltimore Orioles. Here's another example from 2001, Vladimir Guerrero Tools of the Trade. And on the back, again, the enclosed piece of jersey was cut from an authentic jersey personally worn by Vladimir Guerrero in an official Major League Baseball game. And in this case, they even provided the photo of the actual jersey it was cut from. They did this regularly, and occasionally they would even say which game the jersey was worn in, with the date and everything. And it was just very, very, very clear what you had on your card. This was how jersey cards started off in the hobby. Quick side note, in the early days of jersey cards, they didn't really factor in the multicolor patches all that much, so they were actually quite rare in the early days. Most patches from the first few years of jersey cards were just plain white or plain gray or that sort of thing. So the very, very few that did have multicolor ended up being today are worth a whole lot because they're very, very rare. Here's just one example of just a regular old Dan Marino jersey card, which shouldn't be big bucks, but it sold for over $200 because it has the really nice 3-color patch on it. But then as we go through the 2000s, things start to change. And I'm not sure when exactly it switched. I don't think there was an exact date. I just think it slowly, gradually de-evolved, and each company sort of de-evolved at their own rate. Here in 2006, this is a dual jersey card of Kevin Garnett and Dirk Nowitzki, and this one's still good. You have received a trading card with Kevin Garnett and Dirk Nowitzki. The memorabilia has been certified as to have been used by Kevin Garnett as a member of the Timberwolves and Dirk Nowitzki at the All-Star game in an official NBA game. Okay, here, you're still very clear what you got, and these are, legit game-used jersey pieces. But then by the time Panini comes around, and I'm not sure that it was Panini that was sort of the leading driver, but they definitely, by the time they were, major players, things had de-evolved quite a bit. Here in 2009, you have a LeBron James jersey card. There's nothing on the front of the card that says anything about jersey or game worn. And on the back, the only thing mentioned is the enclosed game worn swatch is guaranteed by Panini. Well, that's very, very vague, right? I mean, okay, they're guaranteeing it's game worn, I guess, but was it game worn by LeBron James? Was it game worn in an NBA game? Was it game worn, it could have been game worn by my cousin in, a T-ball game. I don't think that's the case, but it's just nothing's clear about what's going on here. Here's another example from 2009 Topps Triple Threads. This is a Manny Ramirez with really nice, jersey and bat pieces on the front. On the back, it says this is authentic game-used relics cards of Manny Ramirez, but the relics contained on this card are not from any specific game, event, or season. Well, again, that can be interpreted in many different ways. It does say it's authentic game-used relic card of Manny Ramirez, so you would have to assume that it was used by Manny Ramirez in a game. I mean, that would sort of be the assumption, but, contained or not from any specific game, event, or season sort of makes it a little more vague. With this one, I would say you're probably looking at game-used material legitimately, but again, it's a little bit vague to be sure. By the time we get into the mid-teens, the vagueness on the back of cards is basically the standard on all cards. Here's a 2016 jersey card of Damian Lillard, and on the back it just says the enclosed game-worn material is guaranteed by Panini, and nothing else is said anywhere on the card regarding what the patch is. Game-worn material guaranteed by, game-worn material guaranteed what? Guaranteed to be what? Guaranteed to be game-worn by Damian Lillard? To be game-worn in an NBA game? Was it guaranteed to be from Dick's Sporting Goods? What does the guarantee mean here? Same thing with this 2017 dual jersey card of Marshawn Lynch and Alex Collins. The enclosed game-worn material and player-worn material are guaranteed by Panini America. And player-worn is where we start to switch and get even more vague. You know, game-worn does suggest it was worn by that player while playing a game. Now, it doesn't mean it was like an NFL game or an NBA game. Maybe he was playing a preseason game or a practice game. But when they get to player-worn, that sort of starts up the next level of de-evolution. Many jersey cards today are player-worn, not game-worn. And, you know, nobody knows exactly what that means, but it's assumed by many, including myself, that what that means is something along the lines of, you know, Upper Deck had a signing with this player in this case, and, you know, they hired him for an hour, and they just brought to the signing a jersey that they bought at Dick's Sporting Goods, or maybe they got it from the team, who knows, and he just put it on for 5 seconds and then took it off, and then they cut up the jersey and put it on the card and can claim that it was player worn, which it technically was. The player did wear it for even if it was just for a short amount of time. But I think it's an important distinction, because I think many collectors think that the patches you see on these jersey cards were worn by the player in an official game. So as I mentioned, most of the jersey cards today are very, very vague in their description and their guarantee on the back. This Bryce Harper one card says game used memorabilia on the front, which suggests that it was game used, I guess. But the back says the memorabilia included on this card is not from any specific game, event, or season. You know, you can guess for yourself how to interpret that. Here's a Scotty Barnes patch auto from 2021, and the back says the enclosed officially licensed material is not associated with any specific player, game, or event. So in this case, Panini is being very clear. The patch on the front is not worn by Scotty Barnes. It was not a Raptors jersey. It was not used in a game. It's, you know, it could be anything. They basically say that on the back of the card. Here's an example from Leaf with a really nice Major League Baseball logo man on the front. It says authentic player worn patch on the front. On the back it says, on the front of this card is an authentic patch. The authenticity of this patch is guaranteed by Leaf. You know, what guaranteed what? It does say player worn, so I'm going to assume it was, you know, this patch was on a shirt that was worn by Jake Fox at some point. Here's a soccer example from Panini from 2021 Illustrious. The enclosed match-worn used material is guaranteed by Panini. Okay, you know, match-worn used, I guess, that suggests that it was worn in a match, probably by this player, maybe. Who knows? And the de-evolution continues. Here's a 2021 donruss optic Jordan Love jersey. On the back it just says, the enclosed authentic memorabilia is not from any specific game or event. That doesn't promise anything. That doesn't promise it was worn by Jordan Love. It's not player-worn, game-worn, game-used. You know, it doesn't promise anything other than it is a piece of cloth. So you all get the picture. It's very, very vague with most descriptions and guarantees on the back of the cards today as to what's going on. What is the actual piece of cloth from? Is it from something important or not? They're also manufactured patch cards, and while a lot of people don't like these, at least you know what you have here. Here's a 2021 Ryan Mountcastle commemorative, they call it a commemorative rookie card logo patch, and the back says the commemorative rookie card logo patch within this card was specifically created for this card. So you know that this is not like a game worn thing or anything like that. At least there's some transparency there. It should be mentioned that there are a few sets that Topps puts out. I don't think Panini does it with any, but there are a few sets Topps put out where they clearly, you know, stick with the game used memorabilia, and they actually give proof to the thing, and they put this little sticker on the jersey patch there, and on the back you can look up the patch using the sticker online and see what actual game the jersey was used in. And I think that's a really cool thing, and it's one of the things that I really hope Fanatics sort of gets under control and brings back these much more authentic, you know, relics and jerseys and patches, as opposed to just these vague randomness that nobody really knows what it's actually from. And I'll finish on this example. I just find it amazing that these high-end products can get away with not putting authentic, you know, pieces of material on the card. You know, when boxes cost $5,000, you know, $20,000 or for Immaculate, I don't even know what they go for. But you're just having some manufactured patch here. This is a 2021 National Treasures Trevor Lawrence rookie patch auto. It's serial numbered out of 2 and has a really nice looking Nike swoosh patch there. And you can see on the back the enclosed authentic memorabilia is not from any specific game or event, and that's all it says. That means this was never worn by Trevor Lawrence. This was never worn in a game. This is not an official, you know, Jaguars item. It's just a Nike. I mean, this could have been manufactured in someone's garage, and you know, this is the type of card that people ask $40,000 for, and you see this sort of thing, and it just seems like you know, I don't know if people are assuming that's a game used jersey. That's certainly what I would have assumed. If I'm paying 40 grand for a modern card with a really nice patch on it, my first assumption would be that, yeah, that was from a jersey that Trevor Lawrence wore in an NFL game or an NFL event. And last two things I'll say, and I kind of want to end on a bit of a positive as sort of poo-pooing the whole patch card industry here for this entire video. But, you know, a lot of these patches just look really nice, and that might be enough. You know, just because they're not from a game used, you know, they're not from a specific game or something, doesn't mean they're not still collectible items. They can still look really nice, just have a great eye appeal. And, you know, I think that sometimes just is a great looking card, and that's sort of enough. And the other thing is, you know, because it's so vague today, it actually sort of adds a nice collectability to the early year patch cards from the late 90s, early 2000s, where they were legit and it was very clear that they were officially game used, and you could even see which game they were from sometimes. And I think that's a nice little, you know, pocket of the hobby to collect if that was your thing. But that's it. Thank you everyone for watching. And if you have any insight about any of the statements, you know, made on these cards, you know, I was guessing on a lot of this stuff. I don't actually know if there's more to it than what I said, so maybe there isn't. If you know something, please leave it in the comments. Would love to read about it and learn. But thank you again, and see you all again real soon. Thanks, everyone.